Hi guys, this is Cassie, and I'm currently studying abroad in Osaka, Japan at Kansai Gaidai University for the fall 2017 semester, and today is the top 10 challenges of studying abroad in Japan that I wish I knew. So number 1, the paperwork never ends. 6 months before you start studying abroad is when you're going to start your paperwork. So that's usually when the application process starts, whether it's for, the university application alone, scholarships, Yakkan Shoumei, which I'll get into that later, insurance applications, just so much stuff that you're going to be bombarded with, and even when you think it's over, it's probably not. For me, when I finally got to Kansai Gaidai and I thought everything was done, there was still more to do at the beginning when I arrived at the university. And then of course there's some more to do when you're about to leave. So just be ready for a lot of time consumption in paperwork. Even when you think it's done, it's probably not, so just hang in there. So number 2, Yakkan Shoumei, importing medicine. So I mentioned this a little bit, but this is a form that is only for if you're coming into Japan and you have some kind of medication that you're on that you need to bring into Japan to take every day or whatever. Because normally the rules are you can take 1 month's supplies worth of any medication, or mostly any medication. There are some that are prohibited, so be careful. But if you're going to be in Japan for more than 1 month and you need to bring more medication, then just be prepared that obviously you have to get that medication from your pharmacy and everything like that. But to bring it into Japan, you have to fill out a Yakkan Shoumei, which is basically an explanation of what this medication is, how much you're bringing, why you're taking it, a signature from your doctor. So yeah, you have all this paperwork to fill out that you can actually email to the airport that you're arriving at, and then bring all your medication, bring your form that's been approved by them, and then when you go and collect your bags and go through customs, give them the paper, show them your medication. And for me, that's what I did, and they just said, okay, you have 6 bottles of this, alright, you're good to go. And they barely even gave it a second look. So that part of it was easy, but filling it out and making sure that I have everything and communicating with my doctor was a little troublesome. So just be prepared to do that if you do have medication that you're going to bring into Japan, and make sure to tackle it as early as you can, because who knows what kind of delays you might run into. Number 3 is pocket Wi-Fi, which is probably the best way to have internet connection in Japan if you're not buying a phone plan. So basically it's a little device, this is actually mine right here, that you can either pre-order online or wait till you get to Kansai Gaidai University, and within the first week you can reserve one and then immediately receive it. But basically how it works is you turn it on and you connect your phone, and then you have Wi-Fi with you everywhere that you're going. And most people here in Japan use an app called Line, which is what they use for messaging. So texting isn't really as popular as much as Line is. So that can be basically your form of communication, and you can connect it to your laptop, you can connect your pocket Wi-Fi to anything, so you can Skype, do whatever. And I think for me, I've been here for 4 months, so maybe around $300 I want to say in total for renting the pocket Wi-Fi. And for me, I actually rented mine and picked it up at the airport when I arrived, and I'll link the description down below where I reserved it online. And then when I'm going home, they already gave me a package that I can just put it in and stick it in a mailbox before I go to the airport, and then that's all done and taken care of. So that's a really easy thing to do. But if you're like, oh, I don't know about internet connection in Japan, because it is hard, there's not as much free Wi-Fi as you might think in Japan. So yeah, just be prepared for that. If you want to do pocket Wi-Fi, it's pretty easy to do. Number 4, when you're flying to your destination country, try to do the least amount of transfers as possible. Though that might seem obvious, but this is something to make note of if, per se, you do win the Gilman Scholarship like me, and you want to pay for your plane with the scholarship money. The Gilman will only accept that if you're using some kind of American-owned airline, so like United or American Airlines or something like that. So if you're using some other kind of airline, you cannot apply it towards it. So just be aware of that, and also the least amount of transfers that you have, the easier that it'll be on you. Number 5, don't worry about having a ton of yen before you come to Japan. This is something that I was really worried about and went through like with my bank back in America to get a lot of yen before I came into the country. But actually I didn't realize it, but it's really easy to just arrive at the airport in Japan, go right up to an ATM in the airport and get as much money as you want. The one at 7-Eleven, at least in my experience, was the one that never charged me for an international fee. They also have money exchange counters in a few different places in the country, but also especially at the airport. So if you are confused about doing it or you're worried about doing it while you're still in America or wherever you are, don't worry, there's a really easy way to do it in Japan. 6. Japanese trains are difficult but not impossible. You'd be surprised at how many people who work on the train line are extremely kind and willing to give help. Even if you can't speak Japanese super well, it's pretty easy to say, you know, does this train stop at Kyobashi or something? And they'll say, yes, it does. Because basically the way that the trains work that are confusing to me coming from America, some of them go towards the same destination, but they go at different speeds and make more stops than others. So if you take like the express train, it'll take you about 30 minutes and just a straight through. But if you take like the regular train, it could take you up to an hour, making a stop at every stop for the same price. So it's important to be aware of that so you're not wasting too much time. 7. Shinkansen are expensive and flights are less so, but more time consuming in the end. When I went to Tokyo, we ended up taking an airplane there, which I kind of wish at this point we took a Shinkansen because a storm ended up coming through and delaying our flight extremely badly. So a Shinkansen would have been a lot better. I think we paid maybe around $200 round trip for our flight. A Shinkansen probably would have been $250 or $300. So it would have been more expensive, but it would have been faster because you don't have to check your bags and go through security and all that. Shinkansen are just super easy to do. So it's really up to you whether you want to weigh time or money. Also, if you are traveling somewhere, I highly recommend using an Airbnb. They're really convenient and really cheap here. And yeah, extremely cheap compared to a hotel. So I recommend doing that. Number 8, host families are just as scared as you are. At first, when I came into my host family, I was really scared. I didn't know what was coming for me, really, because it is kind of a gamble, you know, of how many people you're going to be staying with, how far away is it going to be from the school. You really don't know until you meet them, at least at Kansai Gaidai you don't. But just know that your family is just as nervous and not sure what kind of person you're going to be either, if you're going to be compatible. They're worrying about all the same things that you are. For example, my mom, when we had our first meeting together, her daughter was going to have a baby soon and had to move into the house. So she was worried if I might be bothered by the baby crying, which I said, no, of course not. So they're worried just as much as you are. Number 9, Kansai Gaidai classes are not as easy as I thought they would be. When I first came here, I thought they might be a breeze and I'd have plenty of time to travel, but as it turns out, that is definitely not the case, and my Japanese classes are way harder compared to my classes back in America. But I've mentioned in previous videos that I realized that early on in the semester. So by the end, which is now, I was able to get myself together enough to pull out good grades in the end. So of course it does depend on your university and your level of Japanese that you're taking. But for me, taking Japanese level 5 and, you know, 3 other classes besides that, one including a kanji, which was ridiculously hard. Yeah, I just didn't realize how hard they would be, so just be prepared if you do want to get good grades. It takes a balancing act to have time to go out and have fun, but also get good grades. Okay, number 10, don't be afraid to explore unexpected places. So, being in Kansai Gaidai, Osaka is really close, Kyoto is really close, Nara is really close, and you can expect to go those places multiple times. But those are really big touristy places, at least a lot of places in those cities are. But the thing that is really unique about Japan is you can get on a train and get off at a random stop, you have no idea what's going to be there, and just start walking, and you're probably always bound to find something really cool. It's something really fun to do in Japan. If you don't really know where you want to go, but you want to go out someday, then just go out and see what you'll find. You might find something really cool. Okay, so that was my top 5 challenges / tips, I guess, for studying abroad in Japan that I wish I knew. I hope this video was helpful. This will be my last video in Japan, so I'm kind of sad, but there will be a few more videos to come. I hope this was helpful. Again, thank you so much. Bye.